Vodafone presents the pre-match.
The stage has been set for our grand finalists. At least one will be Astralis, and the next two teams are going to be vying for that second spot there here in the Congress City of Odense, looking to sit proper up against a very tall opponent. But first, they have to match up against each other. Our second semifinalist will encompass that of Liquid versus MIBR here in this lovely city. And just as we've changed in a pimp, we've brought out a sponge in his place. We've got a wild Australian here ready to turn things upside down. He's a little rambunctious. Don't mind him. He doesn't bite. At least he can't do it through the screen.
The pimp had some work to do.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, the street quarter ready and raring to go. So he's out there sorting things out right now. But hopefully I can bring the same level of banter.
Well, can you translate Danish for us?
No, not correctly. I can try. It'll probably be... Natsu would be closer to being able to translate Danish than I.
I don't understand why you have to be set in your ways, Chad. I mean, have you ever had a teammate that really needed to change their ways, Natsu?
I definitely have. It was always, let's say, sometimes even painful, but also I learned how to manage with people's shortcomings.
You mean manipulate?
Good way to put it.
Which is not always a bad way. I mean, I think manipulate is giving a bad vibe. I feel like that word is also used for positive as well.
Yeah, look, I think when you think about teammates, or at least teams and changing their play style, it's a difficult thing to do. Even as an in-game leader, you get very pigeonholed in your thought process, right? You're not having too much information coming in and you like to get stuck in your ways of what works. If you're not willing to look at Counter-Strike as a whole and see the best, pieces of the puzzle that work for the general game and then articulate to your team members, then you're going to have a rough time, right? Because you want to get the best out of percentage-based CS and you want to get the best out of what your teammates can actually offer, which are normally two contrasting things.
Yeah, and I mean, adding or changing a player can just outright change the dynamic of the whole team. If you find a guy who's like a solid wingman to an in-game leader, coming up with good ideas and is good at giving vital information during rounds, or even coming up with some, seeing from his own perspective what could possibly work, and then coming up with the calls even.
Well, imagine a scenario where we have a player that's played for Team X for the past 5 years, right? And he's kind of set in those ways. Then maybe something gets changed. Maybe he has to do a bit of a roster change himself.
I have an example of that. Do you want one?
Can you please, Chad?
Mouse Sports, when they brought in Snacks.
Yes.
They just put Snacks in Stiko's roles as opposed to, using him for being more of a star player. But they already had heaps of the firepower, right? They were hoping just to get an upgrade of a personnel change in Stiko's positions. That's not what they got. They got a downgrade in terms of the team play and everything that was offered in those ways. So it doesn't always work one for one in Counter-Strike. Everybody has different attributes. Everybody can offer different things. And that's something that is only really found out via a teething period, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's something I have to realize is that it doesn't necessarily mean you get an upgraded player in terms of just looking at his stats or whatever. It doesn't mean that it's going to work better in a team. It's always going to be that dynamic between those 5 people and how they can do things on a server and actually work amongst each other, daily for many, many hours. So there's a lot more to it.
It's not necessarily as plug and play as you might think. And this next session is not going to be as easily as pressing play. We're going to hear from these teams and players and see what they thought. And when it came down to changing what you're used to, changing up your routine, all in an effort to find that coveted trophy at the end of the day.
How does it change about changing strategies and why?
I would say the coach, Sergey. I know he's pretty stubborn. He has really his own way of thinking, and he's pretty convinced usually that's the right way.
Maybe Jordan, Hats. He has a very particular way he thinks about the game. So if you try and challenge that, yeah, he can sometimes be a little bit stubborn.
Well, of course, the hardest person to discuss the strategies in our team, of course, it's Coach Kane. I can't even understand him sometimes, what he means.
That's not speed session, is it?
I actually think all of them are quite easy to work with in regards to changing tactics. When I got onto the team, I was the new in-game leader of the team, and they all told me that they wanted me to try and implement my new system and my philosophies. So I think all of them are easy to work with in that regard. Of course, all of them have some things from the past that they know work and then they want to keep using, but I don't think anyone is stubborn in that regard.
I'd say Sabrosa because he's been playing for a long time, so he's like less moldable than Neptune, and I think when you've been playing for a while, you kind of get like set in certain ways, and to break those habits requires more time.
I never had any trouble, so maybe, okay, existence need to understand everything. And he's seeing CS in a certain way, so it really needs to, really needs to decompose everything, like, and explain why, and it's really deep. So I will say him just because he's a perfectionist and you need to go really far. Otherwise, it's like really easygoing.
Well, I'd say we're most of us are actually pretty easygoing in that term, in that kind of like aspect. I think Kassad kind of has control over everything to do with the strategies, and then AZR. So I think those two kind of work together to make sure, you know, everything's on point. But I think most of us are kind of like, we trust them in what their judgment is. So I think we're pretty easygoing in that.
It's definitely got B. Yeah, he's one of the best in-game leader, and he knows everything what has to be done.
I think it used to be Taco, which makes sense. He came from a very successful team, and he is considered a champion in CSGO. So it makes sense that his views might not change right away from younger players. But now everybody's on the same page, and we're constantly agreeing, or if we disagree, an argument's made. And then argument's usually pretty productive, so we usually figure it out.
You could hear right there some very, very likely candidates and some unlikely suspects in some of the names they mentioned. I have two analysts here that have a smile that could break a mirror right now because it's so sharp. What is it, Chad? What?
Isn't the one that's so telling when Edward's talking about Kane? It's like, well, if the coach is the hard one to get new ideas through, right? He's the one who's meant to be presenting new ideas, or at least presenting solutions half the time. That could be a little bit troublesome. Maybe it talks to the woes they've been having.
I mean, that's a red flag right there, if I've ever seen one, right? But I mean, it's always good to have the situation where not everyone's supposed to agree, right?
Yeah.
I think if you want to develop, you want to make progress, then there needs to be a little bit of a discussion. It needs to be different points of view for everything.
Yeah.
And then hopefully the end result is something that will improve you as a unit. But if if the coaching staff is not really presenting themselves correctly, or making themselves heard in a manner where the players agree with it at all, I feel like that's an issue.
Back in the CGS days, rolling back the years about by 10, when I was the junior, well, I was only 18 years of age, and I was playing Boomzer was the in-game leader. I had Top Gun. He's a name that other people might familiarize themselves with. We used to literally have yelling matches in a room. Like, doors would get locked until problems were solved. It wasn't the healthiest way to deal with things. It was kind of like forcing a confrontation. And when all those boys are much bigger than me, it can be quite a scary environment. But we always solve them.
Chad, I've never known you to be a fighter, but I guess in those regards, you kind of have
I'm a lover. I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Well, I mean, I can sympathize and understand where it does make sense to kind of hash it out sometimes and kind of let all your frustrations pour out. And we're going to pour out some more here for our homies down on the tournament floor. We do have our next set of commentators. It's going to be Sadie Kiss and Henry G setting up, bright-faced and early down there. Nice hair, Matt, looking like it's blending in with the lights.
Yeah, you know what? At least I'm pulling mine off, unlike your frosted tip highlights, Backstreet Boy comeback. I don't know what that is, but speaking of comebacks, MIBR on a bit of one in this event. Obviously got through to the semifinal directly, now go up against Liquid.
Matthew, it's exciting. Liquid always shine in semi-finals, maybe so much in grand finals, but the semis where they do their best work. If yesterday's anything to go by, I'm very excited what they're going to present here. I'm thinking a 2-1 victory for Liquid based on their teamwork. The fact that all 5 players look stunning right now. Nafly is like gunning for like MVP levels of tournament, so I'm very excited for that prospect. MIBR, though, certainly on an upswing this year. Hope we're going to see them maybe get to the grand final. Both teams will be excellent there against Astralis. It's going to be a great semi-final, what happens.
Yeah, I tend to agree with the 2-1 aspect. I think Veto's going to have a lot to do with that. MIBR seems to have strengthened their pool a little bit. Obviously, they've been leaning on Inferno a little bit more, but it hasn't exactly been promising throughout for them, Stunna. I'm a little curious, but either way, one of these two teams has a chance to deny Astralis the Grand Slam.
Yeah, I mean, one of these two teams has to go into that grand final with Astralis, and whether they want to or not, that is going to be the opponent that they're going to have. It's got to be a tough one playing down there in front of that crowd.
I would agree with that completely. I think it's going to be a tough time, especially tomorrow when Astralis is back in against them. It's going to be 100% for the Danes, and no one's going to be cheering for either Liquid or MIBR.
And that could definitely be the case. I think all of Odense is probably grabbing just a few drinks and getting ready right about now. We're going to let you guys do the same. Because as the old saying goes, it doesn't matter how blonde you dye your hair. If you've bashed out all the brain cells that you have. That's just unfortunate. Guys, let's start to move forward and begin to dive into what is our second semifinal. There's no Ireland to be had around here. There's no Irish side of this entire thing, but there is definitely a fight amongst us.
I think, you know, within this matchup right here, more and more, the more I see out of MIBR, I'm starting to think that they're on that upward trajectory. You know, they're returning to the form, to their former glory. Once upon a time, the likes of Cold Zero, Fallen, and Fur were the best Counter-Strike team in the world. Obviously, this year has been a lot of stumbling blocks, and Liquid have been the #1 contender coming out of their region for sure. But with all the preparation, with what Yanko has brought, it's a new backbone, it's a new structure. They still have that family vibe, but now, you know, they're following things along with, I guess, a bit more rigidity.
Yep, and let's run the numbers. Natu, we've got MIBR. We've got a Team Liquid. We've got what some would be saying is a battle for North America on its own. But within these two teams, one of these is going to give us a great grand finalist.
I think it's going to be fire. I feel like so far, MIBR has showcased that their brand of Counter-Strike, the way they approach, they're the one team that can actually challenge Astralis and take them to the limit, really. Like, obviously, what happened at DCS, they won in the group stage, and then took it to the limit in the final. That's a great showing, and I think that would be a phenomenal finals match, but I think Liquid has a lot to say about it. They've been the most consistent team in terms of second places throughout the year, and I think this matchup in sense is also very interesting that we've not really seen these teams play one another in this kind of setting for a while.
Yeah, and if you look at these guys toe-to-toe in terms of the firepower within the rosters, both of them have it stacked. And you could even argue that maybe it runs deeper on the side of MIBR because Taco is the only support player, I guess would be giving him that label out of everybody out of the 10 players, right? But he's been fragging a lot more ever since he's changed to Liquid, so maybe that tag's dropped off.
Yeah, exactly. It seems like Taco's having a good time in Odense every time he comes here. Like last year, at a great tournament, and
they won it.
Yeah, and then yesterday he was firing on all cylinders. He was just dismantling Na'Vi on his own. So that's definitely something positive going for Liquid.
I guess that's a storyline we need to point out for all the newer viewers at home. This time last year, at this event, in this city, in this venue, Taco was part of the MIBR roster who were known as SK Gaming. At the time, they had Taco, they had Bolts, and they went on to win the tournament over FaZe Clan in a best-of-5 grand final. A lot's changed within 12 months. It actually seemed like Taco got the better end of the deal, and I think you would argue that Liquid has no doubt been the better team throughout 2018, and Taco's been an integral part of that growth.
Yeah, he's definitely been a key member there, and it's almost as though he's had to find a new niche after leaving that coveted Brazilian lineup, and it seems as though he has found himself a very comfortable spot within Liquid.
I think the cool thing about these both teams and the storylines of them is that while Yanko's gone to MIBR to kind of make them remember the kind of legacy that they've built, the kind of work ethic that they've had, and the close to perfection type of Counter-Strike they've been able to showcase, especially as they were on SK. And at the same time, you have Taco, who was part of that SK lineup, as mentioned, and he's bringing those values. He's bringing that know-how into Liquid, and we've seen they've definitely developed massively once Taco's being put in that team. So I think that's a cool little tidbit.
Well, the tidbits that we have to continue to talk about would be that of MIBR, and I guess we're going to go ahead and jump right into hearing from them firsthand. We do have that privilege of hearing from Fallen prior to going into this matchup. Let's hear what he's got for us.
I've got MIBR's Fallen ahead of their game against Team Liquid. And the one I wanted to get straight into is, right, you had quite a close game against NRG, a bit of back and forth in that one. Going up against Liquid, who is certainly a more tougher opponent. How does your mindset come into this? Do you feel more confident against them because it's an opponent you know, or how do you think just like the feeling is for you guys overall?
Hello everyone. I think the match against NRG has nothing to do with the match you're going to play against Liquid. Such different teams, and despite both being North American teams, there is nothing to make any comparison between the match. So it's going to be a totally different match. It's going to be very interesting. Liquid's a very strong team. We have a lot of respect to them, but when it comes to stage, we know what to do there. So good luck.
And that's one thing, right? You guys thrive on the stage. You love it in front of the crowd. Liquid, though, they've got a very different style to you guys in terms of how it matches up. How do you kind of prepare for that? Because they don't have the open play, and a lot of teams find that something a little bit harder to deal with.
No, it's pressure preparation. We're going to play the best game we can. We're going to try to use the best stuff we have. And, of course, a little bit of insights on what they like to do, or one or two pieces that could help us in the game. But overall, it's just making sure we play our top-tier game, and for sure, if we do it, they can't beat us.
Now, you guys, you've had an up and down year, right? We've been watching MIBR rise back up and come to. Is this the time we see them hit that form again, see you guys be able to take that championship home?
It will definitely be a very good history if we're able to not only beat Liquid now, but later face Astralis in a very good match. So let's take one step at each time, and we gotta do our best if we want to get there. So let's make it try it.
I love it. Thank you very much, Fallen. Calm, cool, and collected as always. He's already thinking of the grand final. Liquid's next, and let's see if MIBR can get it done. Back to you, Stunner.
Yeah, they're going to have a tall tasking on their hands. Fallen's not going to go down without a fight, and he never has. Not that he's ever going to start, and especially not here in Odense.
Yeah, and Fallen, just to add a bit of context to his performance in the tournament thus far, in the 6 maps that MIBR have played, he is the highest rated player for them, coming in at number 7 in the tournament. So considering the sample size of matches played, that's a pretty good stat for him to have. And I always think that these guys play best when Fallen is towards the top of the stat lines, because that means he's being very assertive in his approach to the game. So this is good signs for MIBR. But above of them, we have NAF and Twist, you know, coming in 6th and 4th positions, respectively, in terms of their rankings in the tournament thus far. And those guys, as a rifle duo, you had the Liege in there. Bloody hell, it's scary.
It's a rough one around the edges, and I mean that in all senses of the word, being rough and being abrasive, because that's what Liquid has the possibility of doing.
100%. I mean, just to touch on Fallen, I think he's the kind of leader that really wants to be involved in every situation that, you know, he's sort of leading from the front. And yes, definitely when he's hitting the shots, when he's making the correct plays, it usually showcases on MIBR's score sheet in general speaking. I think the good thing, I think a part of him also improving individually is just the fact that they're finally have been finding that identity, and they're playing better as a team, and that will ultimately showcase that he's also able to play well.
Map pool's still a bit of an issue, I think, you know, in terms of this matchup anyway. We know Nuke's going to be the band that's going to come in from MIBR, and then over on the side of things for Liquid, it has to be Train. So who's going to be picking Inferno, right? That's right. A big question mark, because MIBR have leaned towards, and so have Liquid, and this is where that's going to be an interesting contrast.
Well, maybe we'll hear a little bit more about it. We're going to go and kick it down to the sidelines again. We actually are privileged to hear again from the team, so let's go ahead and check in with them.
I've got a lead from Team Liquid this time around, and they're just about to face MIBR. Now, MIBR is a team that has not had the greatest year overall. You guys have kind of taken that top North American spot away from them as they've rebuilt this roster. Going into this matchup, though, you guys, I would say, certainly have the better map pool. So is there a lot of confidence coming into this from you guys?
Yeah, I think that we're feeling pretty confident. We know what the maps were going to be before. We did a lot of prep on what they're going to be doing. So, yeah, I think that we're feeling pretty confident.
And what do you think is the biggest thing you need to look out for from a team like MIBR? Because they certainly thrive on the stage in front of the crowds, and they've been in this position many times before.
I mean, the one thing is that they're kind of sometimes they'll just do kind of crazy stuff, like either Fur or Fallen will just go for some crazy picks. But I think that we're really good against crazy stuff. Like, I think Na'Vi does similar type of crazy stuff, and I think that's what actually is easier for us to deal with, just because we play pretty standard. And yeah, so I think that we're going to be matching up well against them.
Now, we always know, right, that you guys get into these finals, you want to be facing the Astralis. It's this little rivalry we see here. So how much would it mean for you guys to be able to take down MIBR and get there once again?
Honestly, I would love to be able to get into the finals and be able to deny Astralis the gold bars. Like, man, they would be winning so much money, a trophy and gold bars. Yeah. I don't want to give them all that.
You don't want to give them the gold bars. I'm sure Intel don't at this point either. Thank you very much, Elige. A happy Elige ahead of this matchup. They're going up against MIBR, and it's certainly going to be an explosive one. Awesome, man. Thank you so much.
It will be explosive, and those gold bars are now on the table for the remainder of the tournament. We're going to have to keep that in consideration looking forward into the grand finals. But it all starts here with the best of 3 semifinal. We could be going to all 3 maps, or this could be ending in 2. And I don't know, really. It just kind of all depends how it breaks down, huh?
Yeah, I think that this can be a 2-0 either way. I think that this can be a 3-mapper going all the distance, or it can be either team just rocking up and destroying their opponent and it being a quick final. Now, the maps is obviously the first port of call with this one, and I was kind of theory striking the first vetoes, right? They should be the definitive ones. Those are the 2 maps that are going to be off the board straight away. But the rest are up for grabs. I think the only punish that you'd look for if you're at MIBR might be picking Overpass, because they had a strong win against NRG, but there's a lot of different points to hit. Could go anywhere.
And I think that's a positive sign for the series overall. Yeah. I mean, you're going to maps that are high percentile for both teams, meaning that it's going to be a quite a fight going into it. And also, I think Fallen made a good point on social media earlier. I think it was today, saying that it's going to be a game of chess. It's going to be one of those where it's going to be just filled with a lot of rounds that go down to like 3-on-3 type of situations where it's about individual prowess to be able to then make the right calls and see where the stacks are located and make the right peaks. So this one, regardless of what we end up with, is just going to be a great match of Counter-Strike.
And one thing that we could have also considered before was just the sheer amount of scrimmage time these two teams had amongst themselves. Usually in the past, when you have two dominant teams in one region, you don't want to see them, or you never really hear about them ever playing each other in practice, to keep some of that level of
anonymity?
Anonymity or surprise, or that element of getting away with something there and getting over your opponent. But yes, the vetoes will start flying in any minute. We're going to start to determine where we're going with this one, or Liquid and MIBR.
Can we get a listen in?
We could. Can we perhaps get a little volume, hear what they've got going on down there? But if not,
no, I can't hear them. Anyway, the bands are going to be what I expect.
Yeah.
I would almost put my life on it. That's saying a lot. Reddit, don't take that literally. I think as we move forward from there, it's going to be the picks. So if I am MIBR, they'll be picking second. So there are the bands we expected. If I'm MIBR, I'd probably pick Overpass. Liquid have had 2 big wins, though, at the Malta event, so maybe they have a little bit more confidence. With Liquid, they've gone for Cage. So I was going to say they could pick the likes of Inferno here. If they're comfortable on Mirage, they could go for that one. Dust 2 is a real dicey map, right? I think that's one that no one's really nutted out at this point. So they're feeling confident on that map there. So
Inferno probably third.
Yeah, Inferno would seem like the most comfortable third.
Cash, Overpass, and Inferno. That's exactly what we're going to be getting. It's like things.
It's one of those things where I think both sides are thinking they're finding weaknesses on Cash and Overpass on the other side.
I think at least with the way that MIBR have played so far in this tournament, they've shown a fantastic job at playing for information in the mid-rounds, right? Being very awkward to deal with on their CT sides, taking a lot of assertive plays with flashes, especially in the Overpass game. I think they had against NRG, pop flashing into water a lot, playing for a lot of info there. Cache is another map where you can do that in spades. You can push main, you can push B.
Kind of have to.
Yeah, you can take mid control, you can boost over mid. You need to be assertive on that CT side. So with those plays in mind, with Fur in the arsenal of MIBR, this match by no means, would be seen as a massive weakness for the Brazilians, because it is a map as well where if you stand and deliver on the CT side, you get multi-kills locking down your bomb sites. Hugely proficient in that regard at both rosters.
And the last time we saw these two square off on LAN would have been on Cash, 16-14 though. So this was one where I think both teams can feel like they do have that confidence regardless of having lost or won that.
Yeah, and then going further in this series and think about the Overpass pick in terms of just the longevity of the series. I mean, I feel like, MIBR definitely has been working on it. They NRG thinking that they could punish pick on the map in the best of 3 series. It didn't look great. So I think this is gonna be one of those where we might be seeing going down the distance.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see if there's any particular stat lines that are coming to mind of why Liquid would be making that their choice. I understand why they didn't want to pick Inferno, because that's something that MIBR has
been... It's like a 50-50.
Yeah, and they've been picking it, right? And that means you'd probably start on the T side, at least with this opening map. It doesn't really matter about the side you start on. If you start on T side, maybe you're going to be happy with that because you get to get the ball rolling. We saw Astralis in their opening series on Mousesport's pick and Mirage. They opted to start on the T side. So that's a case for a game where you're coming in cold. So that's something else to consider here with maybe having that map choice coming up first. But all in all, this should just be a banger when you look at the firepower in each team going toe-to-toe.
Head-to-head, for example, should just be pound for pound and evenly distributed at below. And if we take a look at the past 6 matches, that 16-1 sticks out. Got to be an asterisk around that.
Online.
I have a feeling that this is one of those games where Zeus had to come in due to some issues, but I might be wrong on that.
That could be possible.
That could definitely be possible.
Yeah, there's always...
I remember there was a couple of matches where Liquid had to play with them.
Yeah, so I mean, let that one stand out as sort of an anomaly, but for all the worth in the world, you can tell that these teams, they will come within Straw's grasp of each other. They will come just to that point of being better than the other team, but they're still on the even seesaw.
I think the cool part is that we've not really seen these teams play LAN setting, semifinal situation, as MIBR are starting to really make their climb, and they're definitely building that play style back into it, and they're just playing more and more polished Counter-Strike. At the same time, Liquid finally be managing to take a victory in a big tournament, and they've consistently been getting better, and now they're clashing on one another. So that should really promise a lot.
Just with this roster in 2018, well, in the last 3 months, they've played it 5 times. This is MIBR we're talking about here. They won it in their opening 2 games, NIP at the major, Virtus Pro at Blast Pro Series, and then as you move forward, the fact of the matter is they lost twice to FaZe and they lost to NRG. So they're on a 3-map losing streak, but the last 2 losses, one was in overtime and one was a 16-14 game. So those are the LAN results for these guys. So they've been very close. So that's what I'm saying, that this one, you know, even if it is the Liquid pick, MIBR know how to play the map. They're by no means any slouches on this one. So I'm expecting an entertaining series off the bat.
You probably get just that, Chad, and we're actually a few minutes away from doing that. And I guess looking forward, if we go all the way into Inferno, that being that tiebreaker, that being that backbreaker, is that going to be one of those that's landslidey, or are we thinking like, you know, this should also be in contention for what is a good pound-for-pound fight?
Yeah, just flip a coin. I mean, that's one of those ones, right? I mean, I think that if it does go there, which I think the signs are definitely out there that it could, barring any weird situation coming in, that should be a banger of a match, because we've seen both teams really be phenomenal in Inferno.
Yes, indeed. Well, I guess the conversation will continue to roll. The ball will continue to roll. Slowly but surely, we're almost ready to get these players on stage and get them situated. But in the meantime, I kind of have to ask for variables that need to not be variables this time around. We need to talk about some constants that need to find their way into this matchup, whether it be firepower, whether it be a regard to our style of calling. What exactly is it that needs to jump out from either side of this cage?
Well, Fallen and Nitro both lead their teams in terms of success rates for opening kills within the tournament. They're ranked 2 and 3. Fallen's number 2, Nitro's number 3. So for both teams, you'd have to consider those as impact. Now, you have to split that up between CT and T-sided impact and break down all the numbers and stats. But you'd want those to be consistent factors. We do know Fur is very aggressive. So if you look at that head-to-head, if Liquid can neutralize him and make him feel very awkward with his aggro plays, then you can almost take him out of the game. Because he plays a game that is kind of feeling it, right? You're trying to feel the gaps, you're trying to take risks and gamble. And if you get shot out of those, I know we've both played games where we've tried risky things and it hasn't worked, you kind of feel very deflated. So there's some factors to talk about.
What about perhaps a little bit of a head-to-head of former teammates of sort? We do have Naf and Tarek loaded up here. 2 gunners on respective ends of this boxing ring.
Play together on Optic, so that's definitely rolling back the years. We've been doing a lot of that this segment, haven't we? But both players, I think look about the trajectory, have gone on to find success. You have the likes of Tarek, who went and won the major at the start of the year with Cloud9, and then Naf, who for me is the member of this Liquid team who steps up in the crunch moments with the clutch plays. And I don't mean clutches in the traditional sense of like Zipnik's winning a 1v3. I mean the impact 2Ks, or pulling out this massive play to find a gap, picking up the AWP and changing his play style on the entirety of a map. These kind of decisions come from this guy. And I think that fits his personality, because he kind of keeps to himself a lot, and when he needs to make a change, he's more than happy to do it, even if command is giving him other orders. So sometimes that's going to work, sometimes it's not. And Tarek has now turned into more of a role player within MIBR, right? He's having to kind of fit and suit the playstyle of the other big star names, because back when they were playing together on Optic, everybody was just able to make plays, take gaps, find kills, and that's definitely changed now. I think he's going to be a lot more restricted.
I think Naf is just cool as a cucumber, as an individual on the server. For me, he's the kind of player that will bail Liquid out in any type of situations, because he can, one, be like a turret and just get that 2K when need be, or he can be the one in a 2 and 3 afterplan situation that finds the gap and just does the phenomenal things with an AK-47. So obviously that's going to help a lot in these kind of situations, but the thing is that what I'm good for MIBR right now, something that SK I thought was the best at when they were known as SK, was just how methodically they were really good in those late situations. The one bomb planet, CT side, they're trying to get back into it. They have a couple of flashes left, and the way they manage to utilize those and do things, even when they don't probably have the time to communicate it, it just happens. I want to see more of that. I want to see that really get back to the level. I think we've seen glimpses of that with this MIBR lineup, but it's not quite there yet.
Well, glimpses of that synergy need to make a full-on appearance here in the city of Odense, and it's just about time to get our second semifinal underway. We do have the boys from Made in Brazil versus Team Liquid squaring off on 3 maps, most likely, and it's just about time to jump into the action.
Own it, time to take the moment. This is what you're all about. Don't let go, it's finally your moment. Breathe it in and spit it out.
The memories of Odense last year will definitely be there for playing on the stage again. Last tournament was a blast. Like, we had such a great gameplay and were able to win the tournament. And I also remember the bad falling picture with the trophy. That was one of my memorable moments. So I'm looking to recreate that again. Who knows? I'd say the match versus MIBR is going to be a really tough one. They've been playing really well, and they've probably been playing the closest to beating Astralis recently, at Blast and stuff like that. Yeah, MIBR is definitely a team we could beat. I'm excited to see how it's going to go. I'm very happy to be on another semifinals. This is almost the year is almost ending, and to end it in a good fashion is something very important going to the next year. This year has been very hard for us. We have to go through a lot of bad moments, a lot of slumps, but we're going to be looking for taking the trophy home. We miss the feeling of having a very good trophy bring added to the collection.
Our first step obviously is beating MIBR, but we have our eyes set on the final. We don't like to look too ahead. We like to take it match by match, but you know, MIBR it's going to be a tough match, but it's going to be fun for sure, especially with Taco on our team now.
Even if we don't win those last 2 tournaments we have to play, I think overall it's a good year in terms of really trying to overcome all those difficulties, in terms of we're trying to overcome all those challenges. So it's not every time about the win. Of course, we're always trailing and always trying to find it, but there's other stuff that are important in life too, and I think we have been doing a great job.
We always have people cheering for us, and it's an amazing feeling, like when they cheer for you. And obviously, if we play MIBR, I don't know what side they're going to be on, hopefully ours. And if we play Astralis, then they're going to be on their side 100%, so we're excited.
Alrighty then, it is time to get ourselves hyped back up again for the second of our semi-finals here at the War Hall, ready to find out who's taking on Astralis in that best-of-5 final tomorrow. Who enjoyed our first semi-final? Who thought Astralis were going to win? Who thought Astralis were going to stomp them? Well, they did. Remember, this is the second semi-final. It's between 2 great teams, and we are looking forward to what we think is going to be an absolute tear-up. So then, I want to know there's emotion in this room. Are we ready? Man, come on, you sounded Swedish then. Let's be Danish. Are we ready? That's better! Let's meet the first of our teams, and that is Team Liquid! They made light work of Na'Vi yesterday. We know this is the team that's possibly the second best team in the world. And I said it yesterday, they've been so close to winning so much this year. Legitimately, they were about 10 frags away in certain situations, if you added them all up, to winning pretty much everything this year. They want to challenge Astralis. They need to win the Pro League Finals and this trophy to really think that they have got through the ups and downs of 2018. But there is a team that want to stop them, and that is MIBR. So if you look at the Season 7 winner, it will say SK Gaming. That is most of this lineup. So 12 months ago here in the War Hall, they lifted this trophy and they want to do it again. They are back on an upward curve with a new coach in YNK. Will this be the tournament where they get back to doing what they do best? And that is winning. I look around here, I see flags. There's definitely a Brazilian flag over there. So it's time to find out who you, Odense, think is going to win this mashup. Is it going to be Liquid? Or is it going to be MIBR? That wasn't loud enough. Is it going to be Liquid? Is it going to be MIBR? Are you ready? That wasn't loud enough. Let's go quiet. Complete silence in here. Are you ready? Let's get it on!
Well, OJ definitely breaking the rules of what a library would constitute, but in this regard, Fallen's going to have to be working here to keep this crowd silent as they do take on a Team Liquid, strong and poised to grab this entire matchup.
Yeah, look, as both teams take the stage right now, I just hope we get an exciting game of Counter-Strike here, because MIBR, they dealt with Mouse Sports in a pretty easy fashion. You know, you've got Liquid, who, sure, they had the game against Astralis to see who was going to make it straight to the semis. It was a bit of a flat game. Yesterday, they were able to make it through without too many hassles, right? We thought, yeah, that's great. They're playing fantastic CS. They're playing off of each other. But I want to see these guys actually have a clash, because they have so many players in both teams who are fantastic at multi-kills, at brawling, you know, really good intuition for the game. They've got clutch players. They've got people who are willing to take risks. So everything's lined up for this to be an explosive game of Counter-Strike.
Definitely. I mean, the funny thing about this is that you have 5 major champions on the side of MIBR, but still they're the team out of these 2 that is actually trying to prove themselves. They're the ones that really are trying to build an identity as a unit. And Liquid, on the other hand, they've really found it, and they know that it's effective, barring against Astralis.
Yeah, well, part of MIBR's identity in this tournament so far, if you check the stats, on their CT sides over the 6 maps that they've played, they have the highest by almost 20% in 4v5 situations on their CT side.
Wow, that helps.
Yeah, but you contrast that, you go, oh, maybe they trade really well. They have the worst, or one of the worst, like second worst CT trading out of all teams here. So this means that they're making plays when they're back against the wall, right? And that's something that we've always tied to the Brazilians, is their resilience when the chips are down. They're going to need that here today, because we know that Liquid, they've been doing this now. They've been on the circuit. They haven't had a lot of time to stop and practice, but they've been grinding the same methodology. And for them, this is just another day at the office. For them, it's just getting to another grand final. Their final boss is waiting for them now. And MIBR, even though they're a good team, Liquid are the ones who have constantly gotten to those grand finals throughout 2018.
And Liquid have definitely made that big footprint here at the end of the year. We saw them hoist a trophy. That was a curse that was surrounding this Liquid lineup. And here they're trying to make that extra extinct, because they want to lift the trophy here in Odense as well. And I guess another second place is another accolade on the wall, but you really want to grab that first at this point.
I think, like Elish put it, you know, that's too much for Astralis at this point. If they do win this, a lot of money on the line alone, but also on top of that, getting the gold bars and getting that, you know, cheeky little million bonus out there as well. That'd be a little bit too much for Astralis.
Yeah, I think as well, you think about that, either team who makes it to the grand final has a chance to win an extra $100,000 by beating Astralis. So incentive for everybody here, right? But first of all, who's the better team right now in North America? Well, if you base it off the whole year, it's been Liquid. But MIBR have been on that climb. They've been grinding out 2018, especially this latter half, and they've been looking better and better every tournament. The problem is, this side of the bracket is a test for them. To get through Liquid, or if it was Na'Vi, that's a big step for these guys.
Guys, quickly, who's picking up cash?
I'm going to go with Liquid.
Yeah, me too. Liquid.
Liquid, probably a safe bet, but perhaps some Braziliancy will come out on the side of MIBR. Only time will tell as we start to turn things up here in the city of Odense. Jumping into our first map of cash, it's going to be Liquid taking on Made in Brazil in your semifinal for the ESL Pro League Season 8 Finals. Take it away, Henry Greer and Matthew Tribbett.
Thank you so much, Trace. Indeed, the second semi-final of the day is about to kick off. Team Liquid versus MIBR in a best-of-3 affair. It's on cash, it's fast-paced, it's hard-hitting, it's skill-based. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise. Team Liquid's on the CT side, MIBR. P250s out in 2s. We're going to see Cold Zero and Tara rocking nose. As they go for the mid-boost here, Matthew, it's going to be an exciting one to kick off this best-of-3. Cash is always a lot of fun to cast.
Typically it is. We haven't seen it at all events, you and I. This is the first time in a while. In fact, we've seen it come into the pool. Offers some great CT strategy to try and get aggressive, to try and catch off the T's. Offers double op setups. It's really got a bit of everything. Fur already down the middle. Hits the first kill, but can't keep it sustainably. Elige does trade back, but then only to find Stewie. It's now the advantage back to MIBR. He's got Z Connector in front. Wants to work it, but thinks better of trying to overcommit at this point with his teammates still back at the hut. They can watch it instead, and he will slide to A.
Well, they can all slow down at this point. Mid-control gathered. It's up to Nitro to try and reclaim territory here. He probes towards middle, but doesn't find anything. Going to be smoked off there by Tarek as Twist rotates towards A. There's actually no defense apart from him in that difficult position. But here come the rotations and the headshots. It will be delivered by Twist to open things up, to bring things back to a 3 versus 3. Bomb will be planted here. Not the best. You can see it from an exposed position. But see Twist push and actually deny the plant there. It's going to be the 2 versus 1. Cold Zero lighting them up with the P250, leaving Taco compromised here.
Overcommitment to the bomb. Didn't check behind the red crate. As a result, Cold goes down 30 seconds. They could have easily swung out on that, but Taco getting the kill now finds himself in a one-on-one with all of the advantage that he needs. Bomb down on the site. Knows now where Tarek is as well. Tagged to 82. But wants to try and hit the headshot on the USP. Tarek Trying to make time be his friend. It's going to be a kill finish. This won't be about the bomb. So all 11 seconds are able to be played. Closer and closer still. Taco's playing the noise perfectly. Knows he just needs to stay into it. And Tarek walks to his crosshair. Well played from Taco.
Absolutely well played. Using those sound cues to his advantage. The fact that his clock was running down so tantalizingly low for him as well. He knew he had such an upper hand in that situation, holding towards the quad. Tarek had to make the next move, and quickly as well. That's why Tarek was just avoiding him as much as he possibly could, and they'll pick up the round. It's Team Liquid going 1-0 here. No bomb planted. Should be an eco here for MIBR, getting the rifles out in the next. You see Tarek there looking disappointed. He knew he had a chance in that. And it will be full eco pretty much. PD-50 and 3 Glocks, no armor, no nades. And you'll just see the 1 rifle here from Liquid, so they might find themselves in a difficult position going into that next round. But his twist is making sure he has full A main control. That smoke deep into the storage area, meaning they can't even access that part of the map. They're going to boost up towards middle. There's almost no way they can even find a kill here with the setup they have right now. No flashbangs, and there's no real reason for Liquid to really challenge middle all too heavily. You can see it's completely open right now. It's not a bomb site. Why even risk it?
Absolutely no point overcommitted to a buy. That's certainly true. Tarek will lead the way. Taco will love to have won out the first round in a clutch against his old team. Removed. Revenge. Rumor originally was not that it was going to be Tarek and Stewie. Perhaps Flamey and Simple were on the cards for the MIBR move originally. FAMAS, UMP, 3 MP9s. They go aggressive. The FAMAS, the one with the kill, finds Stewie. Not the MP9, not one of the SMGs to build up further cash, but it kills a kill. Around as they go through as well to try and push all the way to CT. Elige makes sure that's cut off with the MP9, and at this point, bomb plant not looking likely as Taco finds Fallen. It's all on to Fur.
Yeah, as we said, even 1 kill would be a little bit unrealistic on a map like Cash. Perfectly played from Liquid though, just played very defensively, pushing in towards A main at the start just to get a little bit of info there. That smoke bought them enough time. Then to challenge once again, it was Stewie that went down. Elige cuts them off in CT spawn to sort the backstab towards B. But this is where the game really gets interesting. It's that 3rd round buy coming in from the Brazilians. They're going to have AK-47s across the board. And as we mentioned, Liquid focusing more on the MP9s and UMPs and only 1 FAMAS, so not a single M4 here. Do they bring something aggressive? I would be calling at this point, maybe push towards Squeaky Door with one of the MP9s, try and get a first pick, surprise them perhaps, but MIBR will certainly be aware of that prospect as we get into it. It's going to be nades towards the white box, with no one there to receive. But there is towards boost. Oh my goodness, Liquid have done such a good job there. 2 nades towards the boost has inflicted about 50 damage to 3 players. That's incredibly beneficial considering the weaponry they have. And they're going to flash in towards A main as well and go for that control. They've actually got it as well. Very assertive and controlled play from Liquid so far.
Tarek waiting out toward mid again. Keep in mind that no matter which of these 2 teams get to the finals, there's already more on the line, more money. Whether it's $1 million for Astralis or 100,000 for each of them.
Yeah.
The prize pool is increased no matter what, because remember in the Grand Slam, the team that is in position to deny and does deny in the finals, the team about to win, therefore Astralis, is instantly rewarded for it.
It's going to be a monumental game tomorrow, whatever happens.
Best of 5 as well.
Well, here we go towards that A bomb site, Matt. Looks like it will be an A finish from MIBR. They've got 40 seconds remaining, and they've lost the first pick. Twist boosted up on the door there. Fantastic position. He gets through the players that weren't even really that tagged up. So it's going to be Tarek now, 45 HP. And we'll see if he can get the trade back in return as he sure Twist is even up there. He's checking it. Can't fully commit. They're running out of time. 5 versus 3. Remember, coming into this round with just 1 rifle, it's found 2 kills already. There's the 3rd from Elige, and it looks like it's done. 19 seconds. This will just be a formality at this stage. Caldera and Tarek trying to pull back any frags they possibly can. I'm not sure it's going to be possible. 10 seconds at this point. They can't even commit. Their HP is too low. Twist is on the hunt now. There's a little bit more damage there. Gets the kill. They're looking for all 5 here. Tarek's going to get no cash for the next round. He needs to make sure he survives at this point, which is looking likely. He's got players around him. No money. And it's going to be Tarek taking nothing into the next round. $100 to his name. Fantastic work there. As we mentioned, you want to see something creative there from Liquid on that sort of round where they have have the SMGs one rifle, we saw that great boost. You might think that's quite common, but a slight change to it. The fact he's above this door itself, not on the traditional Shroud spot, then you could see a little bit deeper, go for those first 2 kills, and the fact we mentioned that nade damage at the start, that was certainly influential as he gets the first and nails the second as well, the headshot. 1 rifle is enough to win it, and it will be now the full eco from MIBR. Tarek completely hindered from the previous altercation. $100 as Fallen gets tagged up at the very start. Should be 4-0 here. Great start for Team Liquid.
Boost up already, Stewie and Fallen tagged. Liege waiting on Highway. Should have a pretty straightforward round. Closer they get, the more problematic these pistols can be, but he seems certainly ready. Shadow shows for his advantage, but he actually slides out at the same time in which Fur was peeking. He's taking a good amount of damage. Down to 67, flash out. He'll get some support from Twists. And they've already got the flank going in potentially from A main as well. Twists is lost, Liege makes up for it. Still not a huge issue given the fact that they've not gone anywhere inside of middle. Naf doesn't want to overcommit to the push, mind you, because if he does, and if he goes down, then they have a problem. Then they have access back toward the A site, but Fallen is going to fall away with bomb in hand still.
That 1 smoke towards Highway nullifies the attempts towards the A side. They'll have to fall back, 30 seconds remaining. I think they go towards B at this point. Cold Zero waiting by the vents and perfectly for an incendiary. That's going to be absolute round control for Team Liquid. I don't see a way MIBR can even get close to another frag here. Perfectly positioned. It's going to be Nitro and Taco, the MP9, holding towards Checkers at this point. He'll peek at this stage. It makes perfect sense. You're getting to the point where you need to get a little bit of info here. And of course, you want him to find all the frags. That's lots of money in the bag. Lovely stuff there from Taco. $1,800 gathered. He's 6-0 right now after that clutch in the pistol as well. He's yet to die as Twist will bring out the AWP to kick things off. But here comes Fallen. AWP and just working out his purchase. He's yet to frag at this point, 0-4. I'm sure that will change very quickly as we get deeper and deeper into this game. Taco, like we said, timing it very well just to guarantee these frags. And they were all low as well. So good for the SMG. Smokes deployed and it looks like a boost will be coming through. Not going to go for it, in fact. 3 players towards A main. Bomb and T spawn. Very standard hole here from Liquid. Still with the MP9 in hand to Taco. That's absolutely fine. Nitro gets in the vents and Twist. We're seeing more and more of these young aim stars pick up the AWP and be absolutely stunning with it. Show-stopping almost. Makes a lot of sense why it would suit their style. It's all about clicking on bodies and being fast and flashy. And Twist certainly can live up to those expectations. Round 5, and again, this looks like an A approach from MIBR, but maybe an execution-based star play. Cold Zero waits towards B for any pushes, but a very slow start from either side. Khalil just going out from Tarek, and Fallen's been removed. There's the first kill. It's Twist to pick it up.
He will. Twist trying to fire back through the doors, mind you. Can't quite line it up towards Stewie as of yet. Still no pressure applied. 54 seconds to go in the round, and things will subside for the moment as Elige tries to find a chance shot through smoke. That's when Stewie pushes. AWP up close, remember, which means it's going to be under problems and under threat. Low HP for Stewie doesn't matter because the first shot misses, but Elige, he's got other ideas. So does Fur, however. Back through the smoke. Smoke still down toward Highway. Crossover, and he'll cover off the position. Bomb making its way in now in the hands of Tarek. Will go for the tight plant so that there's no chance they can get caught off and they can play at A main. Now they can still defuse close as a result of that. And look toward Squeaky. Nitro's worked all the way around. He can actually sneak in behind them at this point. Door open as well. Doesn't have to make noise to reveal his entry. His teammates waiting to see what information he can get on this. They'll start to show their faces now so that there's movement. Movement indeed. Finds the first, looks to quad. No answer there as Cold can still cover it off. Fur in the corner found, and they just gotta look toward A main. Cold's got the first already, however, down to the one-on-one. Nitro, he's got the inside of it, but he taps. Doesn't hold for it, still goes back and finds the kill.
Well, there it is, another round on the board there for Liquid. Nitro didn't actually have the kit. That's a little bit shocking. He's got 10K residual cash, didn't buy one into that round, and he could have gone for the full defuse there. It might have been successful, had to get off it, pick the kit up, then defuse again, but it was a fake. Peeks with the AK, rails the head of the terrorist, and it's going to be 5-0. Fantastic stuff from Liquid. That's the closest MIBR have come to picking up a round so far, and we'll see if they have enough funds here with the maximum loss bonus. They should do with the bomb being planted. They absolutely will. No one watching Squeaky Door there, not even aware that could be a possibility. It's a little bit shocking to see MIBR just let that position slip by. It's going to be Taco and Twists on the double orb setup. And aggressive from Naf is what you like to see on Cash. Liege will keep things in their favor, but not for long. It is going to be the 3 versus 2 now. The nades just doing so much damage here as they have to commit towards A. Bombs down. It's been spotted and will fall and push any further here. Decent flashbang to take Twists off the angle.
Love though for Stewie. He opened the site last time, can't do it this time. Nitro, he's got the AUG to close it down, close out the round as well. We go 6-0 for Liquid. They've had more trouble against Astralis than MIBR in the past. They wanted to get to this final. They want redemption. They want to be able to beat them. If you go back to ECS just 2 weeks ago, it was best of 3. It went 2 maps, but it was 2 maps that went 30 rounds and then double overtime. That's how close it was. So MIBR certainly has something to offer Astralis. You got to wonder which of the 2 they would rather play at this point for tomorrow's best of 5. Get back into it again. Money available, but it'll take some time. Figure out how best to use it. That's why Yanko gets a chance to talk, because coaches can during tactical timeouts.
They have around $4,000 per player. Considering the way things have looked so far, it might not be worth it. They might want to get a Deagle armor or something like that at this point. There's the first Deagle, a CZ as well. So yes, they could have got smokes, an AK armor, and it would have been enough to win a round, but Liquid just look way too poised right now. You're just going to financially wreck yourself if you keep buying up at just $4,000. So they're going to take a partial buy here. Presumably more execution-based. They're going to try and get that bomb down if possible, get themselves in a post-plant situation. So only 1 smoke, to be fair, though. A Scout's in the hands of Tarek. We know he's pretty handy with the weapon as he gets boosted up on the white van. I like this idea. Seems to be coming back into fashion more and more as of late. Taco on that secondary AWP as well. He holds towards B. He's not holding a deep angle looking towards storage. It's right at the back of the site as they try and get Tarek in a position where he can open things up. Have a smoke deployed there. Nitro just shoulder peeking to see if he can bail out a shot. Gets the intel, Scouts boosted up. I don't think he'll challenge that again as he just holds on. Is looking towards the middle entrance there. Twist with the first frag. That's Stewie going down.
Tarek trying to find a chance with the Scouts. They'll get 1, in fact 2. Cole finding Nitro. It's going to open up a lot more room in a 3-on-3. Naf still has to wait. They haven't seen the B side often. In fact, the B side players haven't had to do anything really on the Liquid side. Means Naf's sitting at 2 and 3. Looking to be challenged for the first time, and they haven't committed to the vents yet. In fact, without them blown out, it would be rather obvious given the noise cue. Instead, they'll play toward mid once more. Use that Scout to its advantage. Try and find a shot toward the back of the site. He's just smartly positioned, though, with the red crate between him so that Highway can't spot him. Smoke off or fallen. He might just like to go through this if his teammates can get positioned in time. Cold, in fact, could even find Taco a truck, which would then put a ton of pressure onto Elige. That's why Tarek's firing to try and take the aggro. Cold, he spotted out Elige, rotating over, and somehow, found out Naf. Somehow Taco turns to find him. It's all down to Tarek in the end with just 22 HP, 1-on-2. Scout's not going to work, and it's a pistol for Taco instead with 7 seconds.
They could have done the same thing again to Tarek there, denied him any money for the next round, but it looked like things are getting a bit awkward there. He could have ripped off one of their heads, but another round for Liquid, 7-0. This is their map pick, and you can see why they're looking absolutely sensational right now. Plenty of cash, but that run was quite expensive, all things considered. Only 2 players surviving against a partial buy, but another full purchase here for MIBR. Or for Fallen in terms of his frag rating so far, 1 and 7. Same scoreline for Tarek as well, really having a rough time at this point. Able to break down the defense. Another standard round, no aggression for the CTs, no fast-paced gameplay from MIBR. Another default just to get themselves in their standard positions. You normally see Stewie towards that squeaky door. So probing from A main, and then presumably Fallen is AWP. Just looking at B for any aggression at the very start. We'll see if he can spot anyone out, but this is a very passive setup Liquid are presenting. A lot of top teams will get the AWP towards Checkers and look towards Sunroom, for example. We don't really see that much from this in Liquid, actually just holding back and allowing the T's to commit, and they're feeling a B-side attack is likely with Nitro rotating over and putting 3 players in that B bomb site. Could they go for a boost here, potentially? I'm not sure that would be the play at this point. It's a little bit late in the round to consider that. As an incendiary gets deployed, just going to be spraying through that as well. Bomb still down towards middle as we hit the 1-minute mark.
Boost up. Late boost as well. Down, they'll be able to push a little bit further forward on it. Again, it's mid. It's all MIBR want to play at this point. It hasn't worked, obviously. Scoreline suggests that at 7-0. Twist's passive toward the truck, has Elige to cover out Z. They can't push through onto him. He can focus toward the insides of the site. Fallen. He's fast on an AWP. He will finally get Elige back, and it's going to be a retake onto a retake that's already started before the bomb's even down. Where's the communication? Why is no one looking to Taco? He's already found the kill cold. He tries to plant inside of the flames. This is just desperate from MIBR.
What the hell's going on there? Fallen, I'm not sure if he didn't communicate quick enough, but it seemed like no one had any idea. That was a good 3 seconds after the kill came through. Furs is completely exposed. Did he assume it was smoked? I'm not sure, but that was an open A site, and they only get 1 kill out of it. Nothing really happens there at all from MIBR, apart from the bomb plant, meaning they can get a buy here. And we'll take another tactical timeout, allow Yanko to get involved at this point, but things are not looking good for MIBR in this semi-final so far. Barely getting the bomb down there. Very scrappy towards the end. You can see there's a lot of holes to plug. And the money just keeps on swelling at this point. Liquid with $11,000 on Taco, who's only died once at this point. We're going into round number 9. He's died once, 10-1. Double digits for Twist as well on 12 kills, and Elige on 10. And Org continues to find frags almost every single round. And this is the moment. So this should be communicated, surely. Why is there just ample time just to guarantee the shot? No pressure whatsoever. Coldzera desperately goes to the plant in the flames. He gets it. I guess some consolation prize for the next round, but he goes down. Another clean one there for Liquid. They're looking very comfortable and jovial, I have to say. All for Fallen this time, glass cannon, meaning he's very vulnerable to grenades. He cannot be quickly boosted up towards the mid area, for example, or he'll be in way too much danger of those HEs. Takes a little bit of damage at the start, but only just 4 points of health removed. He's going to be changing things up. It's been very passive towards middle. We haven't seen big numbers from the CT side right up close, and he's just going to change things up and play around the vent right now. He is alone, and Naf is considering an A side attack at this point. He actually falls back from B and leaves Taco alone with the AWP. They haven't had that much pressure on that side of the map, so it makes sense. We haven't seen much off the bat from the Brazilians either. It's always been defaults and trying to get basic map control and then a commitment at that stage. I haven't seen anything quick and fast pace in terms of the executions. They haven't really changed things up too much. And here comes the mid play once again. More of the same. We see the same flashbangs, but this time Fallen is boosted up. Remember, any grenades touch him, he's going to take a lot of damage here. He's also got the bomb. Mid's actually clear at this point. We have got Elige who's just edging in towards the white box at this stage. Molotov end to push him back, and that should do exactly that. He'll actually go towards the A site, and Naf will go back at B, considering the vents are now exposed.
Back it off again. Twist. It's more at the ready. Pressure on both sides. They'll sit with the AWP. Finds one, but it's Nitro and Elige that set up the crossfire in return. Fallen can't land the AWP shot to cross over in the transition, but it's Old, at least that gets it. You're right, the bomb not in position to be planted, and more so, guns looking to be dropped after, in which money will no longer be a factor. Fallen has to get away, and he does that. But it's now 10-0 for Liquid. They are on another level, it seems. Well, their opponents aren't showing up. Take your pick. Na'Vi, they absolutely destroyed them yesterday, and MIBR is not even in this game.
I think power and numbers at this point. Let's choose a bomb site. Let's just get in together. Let's get a bomb plant at least. Let's trade some frags. These defaults aren't working. They're giving you nothing to work with, actually bleeding you dry. You're expending all your utility towards middle, not finding any kills, not really getting anything out of it. And the double AWP setup really lends itself to that sort of gameplay. If you leave middle exposed, you've got an AWP in B, an AWP in A, watching towards short as well. What are you going to do with that mid-pressure? As they've got everything covered, they're hitting all their shots. You've got a nice calculated risk being taken as well on the North American side. They haven't had to get too aggressive. We've seen it a couple of times, but that's about it. And they're going 9-0 at this point. No bomb planted there, but there is another AWP, of course, from the previous round. Fallen gets no extra cash, so he cannot purchase armor or any grenades to go with it. So he'll still be on the AWP. Nothing else. They take another time out at that point just to discuss their options. It's getting desperate at this stage. Double AWPs and double AWPs. Team Liquid up against the boost on the white van once more. Will it find anything? Elige might be in trouble here. The shot actually misses though. Fallen with the player on his crosshair, couldn't quite connect it. Haven't seen a great game from him so far. Tarek 1-9, Fallen 2-8. Orp not finding them the goods. I feel like maybe 5 AKs at this point and just focus on playing together with brute force and trading out frags might be a more effective approach at this stage. Because they got Europe against a double orbs, right? Let's do a set piece off the bat. Let's remove some of the vision. Let's make them uncomfortable. Let's get as close as we possibly can. Mid control once more, and this time an opening pick from Stewie. Now it's towards A main, and Nitro will spot a couple as he gets himself in the vents, drops the smoke just to block a Molotov attempt. And an A split looking very likely here. You can see it's completely exposed right now. This has to be a round from MIBR.
Well, it goes without saying at this point when you look at the scoreboard. Fur lines up, does find Taco. Naf gets one back immediately. So again, the trades start to favor off against Team Liquid, but it is a 3-on-3, and this time they've got them forced out of the site. No one going for that bomb, however. Stewie, as soon as he does, gets caught out for it, but falling forward finds Twists. Naf nearly gets him back. Still, though, the bomb's down. He didn't get it on the way by, and it was in the open for Naf to try and spot. They'll go around to get it, but he wants a better lineup. He wants to take toward Highway, and a Molotov still on top of the site means they can't plant immediately. 20 seconds, and he's going to try and outplay them entirely. Map is all his at this point in time. However, the HP is not. 9 to work with. That's why he's more than happy to stay on the AWP. He needs to try and hit this in one single shot to make any sense of it at all, and they're going to play this together naturally on top of the site. Fallen now realizes the possibility and finally gets MIBR around. 2 players stay alive. 9-1, but still they won't have a ton of money left over.
Finally, some success there. MIBR will post their first round, but 2 players surviving, absolute reset potential there. But they've actually whittled down Liquid relatively low. With the reinvestments here, they're actually going to be on the precipice of on an eco if they lose this next round here. This is all coldzera though. That shot especially secured the round. Fallen starting to show some form as well. Love to see that. And we get into the next round here. Fallen's got a Glock right now. What's happening here? As he'll be Glock, and there's an orb in the hands of Tarek. Is there something in spawn he needs to go pick up? I assume there is, unless they've made some sort of catastrophic error here. There is an AK. It's absolutely fine, Matthew. There it is. So they're going for the first pick with Tarek there. Didn't find anything, and they should swap things over at this stage. We'll see. Come here, Fallen.
Take the AWP. You can have the bomb along with the AK. Bombs get kills, I've learned from playing Danger Zone.
True.
So Fallen still posted. First time we've seen contact on B early in the round. I say early, we're at the 1 minute mark. Site position hold once more.
This should be the B execution. I imagine a lot of Molotovs here, but it looks more like a contact play. One flashbang goes in. Naf a little bit unfortunate on the timings there, but Taco's going to start hitting shots at the AWP. Can he get a second? Surely not. But Naf will back him up here. They'll go towards CT spawn. That's going to be coldzera. Bomb down on the site, but kills still being found here. Can he get the third? He certainly can. That's absolutely fantastic. And we get him in a 3 versus 2 advantages. Smoke down. Oh, wow. Naf through the smoke. At least pulls this back to a realistic situation now. 30 seconds, but a bomb planted, and the clutch begins. Can the retake be successful? It's Twist on an M4. Same story for Naf. And they've got an incendiary and a flashbang.
Fallen trying to find an angle with the AWP. Scoped in already. He doesn't want to make noise. Noise won't matter if he's looking the wrong way. Twist easily able to find him as Fur backs off. Platform wants to get a better angle on the entry. Up close with Twist. Can't even find that. Small Pit would have given him the headshot position toward heaven, but doesn't go that far. Another round, Team Liquid. A reset for MIBR, 10-1 in this half, looking more than a lost cause.
That is the reset. They're averaging still around $3,500. There's something there, but that's all coldzera again. He gets 2 kills on the bomb side, pushes spawn, gets the third, and it's still not enough. Team Liquid defending B very effectively there. Like I said, I was expecting some sort of execution there. He's went for a nice contact play, to be fair. There's one flashbang and pushed Nafly back enough to put pressure on Taka, but he hits that first shot. Nafly gets back in position to get the second, equal at that point, but then coldzera starts taking them down. And he saw that lovely retake coming in. The nice backstab. Fallen wasn't expecting it, and a 4-spy from MIBR here. 1 AK, Deagle, CZs. Lose this round. This could be 14-1, and a couple of kills coming in. You can see there's almost nothing that's standing in their way, and there's a second player in the door as well. You're not going to expect that. Naf making them look foolish as we get into another guaranteed victory for Team Liquid. That's going to be the eco at this point. 11-1 on their map pick on the CT side. Just to note, Twist has showed impeccable form throughout this tournament. He's 18 kills, 7 deaths right now. Seems like he's getting so much action every single round. And it has to be Glocks and maybe P250s here. It's getting very, very desperate, as loss bonus will be at the third stage. You get $2,400 per player into the next round. That's enough for, once again, the AKs. I don't think the Orb's going to be a possibility, but that hasn't really been an influential factor. MP9 for Elige, well read. He knows Rico here, looking to farm some cash and shut this one down effectively. And he's doing just that, Matt. That's the bomb down and $1,200 in the bag.
Tarek waiting to try and get through middle. Another situation where there's not any guns available. Get this nightmare over with. Surely MIBR, that's all they can want at this point in time. As Elige collects onto Cold once more. We'll close out the round with 2 on the AUG.
Now, Matt, we have to actually address this issue as well. Cash is actually considered to be one of the few T-sided maps we have in the pool right now. This feels like an open shut case. The fact they're not potentially going to pose more than maybe 2 rounds at this stage, it really does suggest that Liquid have got this one already. 3 AUGs, 2 AWPs. Looks like everyone's joining in the fun at this stage and having anything but MIBR now with the 5 AKs and bare bones utility. They get 3 Molotovs. All their smokes, to be fair, missing a few flashbangs, but it's enough to win a round. But had a lot of those opportunities and haven't really come close. It looks like Liquid has got a full understanding of how MIBR play here. Haven't seen anything too technical, no real massive fakes coming in or huge executions. They haven't just changed things up really that much. We'll see if this is going to be enough as Stewie gets naded at the very start. Elige in position to get the first, but will go down to Fur. Opening pick there. They'll just leave Twist alone on the A site, but of course, with the AWP, he's been hitting absolutely everything so far. Holds towards MBK for now.
Nav still backs off B. He'll rotate out early at this point in time. There hasn't been a lot of pressure on that side of the map, so no need for him, or at least no sense of urgency for him to stay in position. Instead, they'll fortify in mid. He can still rotate off that quickly. Fallen being very passive at this point as well. 54 seconds. Opening pick T side. They're waiting for the CT response to see if there'll be an extension, to see if someone wants to try and trade one back and get information. But so far, Liquid being very disciplined, not revealing anything at all. So this will have to be a call on execution from MIBR. 39 seconds as well to try and do so. And they've already got Naf back toward the tree. Keep in mind, there's not a lot to work with aside from 2 smokes and 2 Molotovs to get him beat. Now that can cover platform. You can certainly put one out toward the tree. But Taco, waiting on top of platform, hasn't had any utility deployed. Of all the utility they had, they could have easily covered off that position. They choose not to, and he finds a lovely shot on the platform. Now, he'll get fallen down from tree. It's Tarek left versus 2, and with 13 seconds left, he's nowhere near the site or the bomb. It's another round for Liquid.
So, that I saw it just as building up. Tarek was nowhere to be seen. If he was with the squad there, Matt, he could have actually won that round with them. There could have been a trade, but he was going for the long con. He wasn't faking towards A. He was going for the huge backstab. When his teammates hopefully got the bomb down, he was going to head towards CT spawn and try and spray them down before they went for the retake. Doesn't really work if it goes down in that sort of fashion. Liquid looking incredibly strong. It's Taco with a close-range AWP. How he hit that second shot, I'll never know. But Tarek, as soon as his teammates went down, he knew he was absolutely done for at that point. He does rescue the AWP, but this second kill from Taco really was impressive. It looked like he was absolutely done for here. Turns around and punishes Stewie for not finding that instant kill. And Nafly with no smoke? Kidding me? The fact he gets that sort of opportunity just says it all. It is 13-1 now. We're going to have UMP, Galil, and the AWP. Was in the hands of Tarek, goes back to the glass cannon of Fallen as they boost up towards middle. 13-1. Surely they can get this last round. Mid control coming in. Classic boost for Twists. No one challenging it. Elige will just tuck himself in the lockers at this point.
Smoke expires, which does take away most of the concealed or surprise of that particular boost for Twist. So naturally he backs away from it, knows the door's open. Look at the position he has. Not even worried to stay there. And Fallen takes a ton of damage. Fur, while everyone's looking toward the door though, does make himself welcome toward mid. He'll find the opening pick onto Nitro, so good start to perhaps finding a second round. Snaf jumps back up, doesn't spot anyone. Timing is everything, however, because that's exactly when Fur strikes again. He would have called for safety. Twists would have gone for that. As Fur looking pretty solid in this round. That's his 3rd kill before going down. Man, advantage still. Taco's got to get behind. CZ in hand spotted by Fallen. That'll bring Stewie around as well. He's got the rifle, so Taco on the AWP needs to be perfect. Decides he would rather fight than anything else. Oh, I think gonna boost Red Crate over top of him. They are. Taco's scoped in. He does hear it though, but not ready for it.
Yeah, nice call there. That's really cool. That's actually going to be At 3 versus 1, that should guarantee the second round here unless something absolutely disastrous goes down. Stewie DePlant towards B. Nice call there. You can see Fallen with the awareness that that possible flank could be coming in return from the B side. He shoulder peeks it first instead of running around with his knife. A lot of players might not consider that. But it will be that one movement that just saved the round. Taco was ready to shut it down. Nafly, decent attempt, but nothing he can do with this, I'm afraid. The fact he's got 22 HP and just an HE grenade he gets down. At this point, 2 rounds from MIBR. Really not enough. Like we said, considered to be a slight ET-sided map, depending on the matchup. And 2 just doesn't feel like it's enough. The analyst even pointed out both these teams coming in cold today. Maybe there could be a bit of a factor there, but MIBR is so slow and need to wake up at this stage. We'll see what they can do with the pistol. It's must win at this point. We'll see what kind of buys will come through. It's going to be anything exciting from Team Liquid, maybe something quite tactical, multiple smokes. Here are the highlights and Twist. What a game he had, or a half, I should say. Absolutely epic. That was a nice 1v1 clutch, and then that third round defense against the AKs. It was Twist that carried absolutely everything there. Exciting matchup on paper, but hasn't lived up to expectations just yet. Really need to see more out of the Brazilians here. Remember, Liquid did pick the map. We go on to Overpass next, but at this stage, unless MIBR makes some major changes, could be a quick 2-0. We'll see the buy time to come through.
It's a good call from Liquid as well. They can play it. Taco knows that MIBR were never that fond of it. And we know that they can play well on Overpass also. So yeah, this could be a pretty decent series. 108 ADR for Elige, 103 for Nav. Nitro sitting at 89. All 3 of those above anyone on the MIBR side.
Yeah, Fallen with 38, yeah, I think it was. He's actually got 6 kills. It's Tarek, 2 and 14. Those guys couldn't really get much done at all. But like I said, I expected something tactical here from Liquid. They got 2 smokes, a Molotov, 2 flashbangs as well. What's the play gonna be? Looks like they may be focusing towards the B side of the map right now. As Stewie, his teammate will actually be going for the boost. Like we saw from Twist in the first half, Stewie goes up into the shroud position here. Naf just boosted up on the red crate towards middle, just to see if anyone's super close range or positioning by the vent or the boost spot. He'll drop down. That's a brave one with the Glock. No PT-50s on his T side, so lacking some range here.
Fallen still trying to spot for that information. Time to step up, time to get some kills on the board. USP in hand. Smoked off. Want to get aggressive or not? Wild speculation on shots. There's really no need. No accuracy involved in those. And it gives up mid, it gives up the vents. Fast play. Smoke down toward tree. A brilliant shot from Elige. The second Tarek stepped wide to see inside the vents, and then a Molotov landed in behind. They absolutely eviscerate hold of the site as well. It's Taco to do it. He's been solid in both pistols so far. Only 1 kill this time, but the clutch last time he's now added to that by finding Fallen, and it's only on Fur and Stewie. Bomb to be planted at default.
Incredibly difficult rounds here from MIBR. They've got 2 players. We'll see what they can do.
Kit stopped as well on Heaven. Try and work back in with it. That gives them some chance on timing if they can find the kills, but Nitro already shutting that down, 34 HP. Fur does what he can. He still has time on this. Again, he has that kid picked up, but needs to be aware of the flank. Here's Taco coming, catches him out. Low HP on the one inside of the site, but he's got to be absolutely brilliant to find B main. He won't be able to do it.
Beautiful execution there. Liquid slow at the start, head towards B, smokes down, Molotovs on site. You can see them actually getting perfect control there. Nice trades as they make their way towards the B side. Cold Zero, good for one, but he had multiple players on his screen. Then she got the M4. That's really not going to be a great position to be in. Taco takes care of him, gets a great shot towards Heaven as well. Fallen goes down, and that was when the round was over. 4 versus 2. They have to force buy here in the second, and this is going to find actually map points for Liquid when they have a huge advantage. With 3 rifles, one of which is the Krieg, coming in the hands of Elige. That nice scout shot from Fallen to tag up Taco. He's the MP5 player, and it's Krieg. And we'll be going up towards the boosted spot here. We know how deadly the scope can be. All the first kill coming in this man up. Time will tell. It looks like the A split will be set up eventually. Elige confirms no players towards middle.
Nitro on to fall, and that's the start of it again for Team Liquid. Pistols. Not just their skill set this game, it seems. Tarek desperately trying to find a 1D toward Naf, who already had his number punched. But good hold from Stewie. Up close, we'll get the Krieg in his hands. He's got head armor to work with, so too Cold and Fur, and they've got SMGs. So now we're on level footing, especially with the HP as it is. And MIBR could certainly achieve this round. Cold with a nade as well, if he times that. They're grouped in B main.
thought about throwing it. It would have been a little bit early, but he's going to swing instead to get information toward the vents. Wants to get aggressive with the SMG. The only player in front of him directly is Twist. He's the one with 100 HP, and Naf gets the kill instead. Twist barely escaped. On 60, they'll remove the Krieg, and Fur, removed from the site, has a long way to go, and unlikely he's going to find 4.
Absolutely nothing to be done here for Fur. MP9, 1 smoke, 4 players up. Yes, they're low, but to defuse that bomb, that's just an absolute fairy tale. We'll see whether he can do anything with this. Any exit frags potentially upgrade to the AK, but I'm afraid this map is essentially done. 15-2 down. It would take 13 in a row just to get overtime, and they're going to be broken for cash. This was a force buy, remember, and Nafly is looking deadly. We said in the pregame, Matt, that Naf has looked stunning this tournament. Him combined with Swiss in top form, it's such a scary prospect, and this is a team that can take Astralis so the full distance. If they can turn up in this manner tomorrow, MIBR just can't handle it right now. You can see Fur just has to sit back and wait. Nothing can be done. 4 players exit towards T-spawn. They will all survive even with the low HP. And there it is, guaranteed map point at this stage. Has to be another buy, of course. MIBR will come in with SMGs and pistols. Deagles, UMPs. Fallen Tarek yet to buy as the scouts. Will Tarek get one as well? That's a weapon he does like to use. Look at the shot from Nafly, just waiting for them. He welcomes the opportunities as he hits absolutely everything once again. He is looking stone cold today.
He knew he was there. He'd already peeked prior to when we actually joined that replay, so he just had to sit and wait to see if Fallen would get him, or excuse me, as Tarek would get impatient. Speaking of patience, Cole's going to test his by getting both on the backside of a smoke and near the flames. Naf somehow figures that out. Takes him down, opening pick already, and we're 1 minute and 36 left in the round. Only 20 seconds in, and already MIBR's lost a man, this on map point. Stewie sits on a deagle. I think we better get ready for overpass.
We've got 3 players on the MIBR side who haven't really had any contribution whatsoever. Tarek 2 and 16, Fallen 6, Stewie 7. They just really can't find the frags. They're not looking their usual selves. Normally star players on a map like this, we came into it saying it's a map that lends itself to aim stars. You can see that's exactly what Liquid are displaying right now. Every shot is clinical, headshots all over the place, and there's just no response for it. The 1v1 duels have been a disaster for IBR. Desperate attempt here, flashing in, no one there to receive. It's so frustrating. Tarek, who's had the game from hell, really. He gets stuck in towards the lockers. Doesn't want to finish this on 2 frags. Can he make it up? Yes, he can. If he can win this round for them and start to build that confidence back up, that would be fantastic. Might have a few more rounds to go here yet, as Tarek will hold on. He gets 2 frags there. It's going to be a 2 versus 2 still. Fallen and Stewie with a scout and a deagle. Yes, Twist is low, but still B-bomb side completely open, and that's where they're heading right now.
Twists. He'll take the charge. No bomb with him as of yet. It's going to rotate over in the hands of Naf. He's got 100 HP. He's got a Molotov. He's got smoke. I think he's going to head to Skylight just to use some of that first before his teammate walks in on his own. Valiantly goes to Fallen, and Fallen's ready before the smoke blooms. Scout hits. Body shot's all it required, giving Twist HP. Naf just barely got to the corner. I thought Fallen was going to have the shot before in which he was ready to fight. He's certainly going to look to heaven because he knows the smoke's down. I don't think he quite saw him. I think the X-ray, the chromatic aberration kind of led us to believe that he might have, but the shoulder never showed. He does find Stewie nonetheless, and Fallen's in line. Naf closes it out. It's Liquid 16-2.
Look how calm he is as well. He just made the godlike play to close that game out against world-class opposition, and looked like another day in the office for him. Nafly and Twist, that's a combo on your screen right there. MIBR need to wake up at this point. They don't look like they're ready to play at this level, Matt. They can't keep up in the duels. That's what's standing out for me the most. Every single aim duel coming in, it seems like Liquid are hitting every single shot. We're seeing anything but from MIBR right now. An absolute travesty, really. A map like Cash as well, it's one they play a lot. You'd think we'd see a bit more from them, but absolutely blown out the water.
Blown out indeed. Unbelievable performance from Liquid. We're going to get ready for overpass. We'll see you in a minute.
One more time. Are you ready?